What's up, everybody? I'm Jeremy. You guys are watching Inside the Coils. Tonight, we've got Riley Jimison of Riley's Reptiles joining us. He's going to be on a little bit later, though, because he is extremely West Coast. So he actually works on Sundays. So we're going to just kind of go over a few things here, run some sponsor ads, that type of deal. Kind of kill some time, hang out until he is backstage and ready to rock and roll. They said, that time zone difference really sucks sometimes. But yeah, so we're going to kick it. We're going to just kind of hang out everybody for a little bit till Riley gets here. And I think he had told me it would be like 8:30-ish, something like that. So you guys can listen to me bullshit for like 30 minutes at least. I mean, hell, come on now. So let's go through, say hi to some people. Got Sammy in the chat. What's up, dude? Good to see you. Says he'll see me in Gettysburg. Looking forward to it, dude. I was actually hoping Clutch 13 would have been ready and available for Gettysburg, but with the timing of it, just didn't work out. The reason I say is because Sammy loves pies, and it was a clutch of nothing but pies. So some really killer, beautiful stuff. Extremely anxious to get that out for you guys to see the egg cutting and the update. They're in shed right now, so that's obviously why they're not going to be ready for Gettysburg, because Gettysburg is next Saturday. This coming Saturday, November 9th, guys. November 9th. Come on out. Say hi. Say hi to a bunch of the sponsors that are there. Buy some animals, guys. What brings Christmas in better than a new snake? Let's say hi to Tara, Voodoo Doll Royals, one of our top tier channel members. Thanks for tuning in, Tara. Good to see you, girl. She did hatch a very interesting and very cool looking Centauri clutch. So she's doing her due diligence. I applaud Tara on this, because instead of just throwing the stuff out there on the market, she's actually going through all of the painful steps of figuring out, is it its own thing, or is it something else that was just renamed? So, Tara, I applaud you on doing the hard work on that one. But beautiful babies, beautiful babies. Derek, D&K Reptiles, what's going on? Thanks for tuning in, Derek. James Perry, what's going on? J&S Exotics, thanks for tuning in. Watts Minor, what's going on? Thanks for tuning in. That is Phil. I don't know why. Phil, you need to change it, dude. You need to go back to the old finger snakes thing. Like, this really throws me for a loop, dude. I'm not gonna lie. Like, it's been how many times now, and it just throws me for a loop, bro. Gotta change it back. Gotta change it back. Our dad's going crazy. What's going on? Thanks for tuning in. Gonna listen in while I'm packing these animals. Damn, I'm gonna assume you were at a show then this weekend. Either that, or you went to a show and bought a whole bunch of stuff. One or the other. But if you were vending, hopefully you did really good. Let's go through. Oh, damn. All right. This chat going off already. All right. Exotic Dream Chasers. What's going on? Good to see you. It feels to see you all at Gettysburg. Tara's always there for Gettysburg. Tara religiously, her and her husband, Scott, religiously bring me a big old case of Yoo-Hoo, and that's what starts the show off amazing. You guys all know how I preach the magic of Yoo-Hoo, and if you don't know, I mean, if you're vending a show, pop a Yoo-Hoo. It's gotta be in the little cardboard, the cardboard box. Can't be in a can. It's gotta be in the box. School of Crop, what's going on? Thanks for tuning in. Julia, good to see you. Vending Columbia, South Carolina Repticon. All right, awesome. Well, hopefully you did good. See, right there, folks. Right there. That is a woman that knows what's going on. Thank you very much, Tara. I cannot wait. Always good to see you guys as well. Let's go ahead and run one of the channel sponsors a while, guys. Let me scroll down here, and then we'll kind of go through some odds and ends stuff. And, yeah, here we go.
Gettysburg Reptile Expo, LLC is located at the All-Star Event Complex in Gettysburg, Pennsylvania. It's a 45,000 square foot venue with 125 plus vendors and top quality breeders, along with 270 plus tables. If you're looking for a python, boa, colubrid, gecko, lizard, or amphibian, you've come to the right place. Doesn't matter if you're a breeder looking for that missing piece to your project or a pet owner looking for your next scaly friend, Gettysburg Reptile Expo LLC has you covered. Need an incubator or rack system? They have you covered with sea serpents set up there to meet all your needs. The next show dates are July 20th and November 9th of 2024, March 29th of 2025. Show times are from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. Make sure to check them out on their website, Instagram, and Facebook. Mark your calendars because this is one show you don't want to miss. So I'll see you at Gettysburg Reptile Expo LLC.
Make sure you guys don't miss it. Please don't miss it. Come on out, say hi. Look at this guy sneaking in. Nathan, Infinite Possible Pythons, one of the channel sponsors. Thank you very much, bro, for tuning in tonight. Good to see you. I'm extremely excited, not only to get to vend the show, get to hang out with you Saturday, but I think I'm even more excited about Friday night hangout because after we set up, we all go out to eat someplace. Really excited about where we're going to as well. But it's always a good time, getting, it's not always talking shop, but when we do start to talk shop, it's stuff that kind of gets the gears rolling a little bit. Normally, it involves some tweaking on my end after the fact. But it's always very, very good, informative, just down-to-earth conversation. I absolutely look forward to that. In all honesty, Friday night's meal and just hangout is probably the one thing that I look forward to most about Gettysburg weekend is just, I say Gettysburg weekend. It's just Saturday's the show, but Friday makes it, guys. Friday makes it. But super excited. Good to see you, Nathan. Thanks for tuning in, bro. So, all right, updates. Last clutch has hatched. Like I said, clutch 13 is in its shed tub. A very cool clutch. Super happy with how the odds hit on it. It was a pied to pied clutch, so everything was going to be pieds. But we hit some beautiful stuff. I'm not gonna lie, folks. Some very cool stuff. Even Kara thought it was some pretty cool stuff, even though she liked the stuff that is on the lower end of what we hit. So it's kind of funny. Anyway, so they're in their shed tub, so they won't be ready for Gettysburg, sadly. They won't be ready for Oaks either. They should be ready for, I think, Hamburg's in December. So they'll be ready for shows in December and or Morph Market. Now, that being said, guys, if there's anybody that's going to Gettysburg and you're interested in anything that I have right now up for grabs, go to my Husbandry Pro store. Link is in the description down below. Go to the link tree. Go to I think I have it labeled now, available animals, something like that. Click that. Check out what's available. The Gettysburg will be, now mark my words, folks, will be the last show that I do not have the carpet pythons on Morph Market. After Gettysburg, I'm putting the remaining 3 carpets up on Morph Market. So snag them if you're interested, because I don't really think they'll last too long on Morph Market, because all the other ones that I had put previously on Morph Market went really quickly. So if you're thinking about it, debating about a jungle carpet, and you are interested in any of those babies that I have available left, they are absolutely gorgeous. Let me know. I can send you updated pictures, because those pictures are not updated on Husbandry Pro. I'm slacking on that one, I'm not gonna lie, but I will get updated pictures for you, and we can go from there. And or if you're at the show, you can see them at the show. But once they hit that Morph Market, I think they will go pretty quickly. I was kind of like, it's, I don't want to say it's bittersweet, but it's complicated with carpets sometimes. Like, at least for me, I enjoy them so much, so I don't rush to get rid of them, if that makes any sense. These 3 that I have left, I've been just holding on to them, basically just, taking them to shows. So that way I at least have those carpets present at the shows. And that way it's kind of that wow factor. People see it, they stop, because it's something different other than ball pythons. That being said, with what I'm thinking I'm going to be having for this coming season coming up, more than likely, she's going to be going. That guy up there, Xander, aka Xena, is going over to Nathan's house to do some work. So he won't be up there much longer. But we're going to be getting Celeste again from Chris over at S Reptilia, which is another one of the channel sponsors. Celeste is going to be coming back over here. So we're going to be doing 2 female pairings, same pairings, as this season. But we're doing a different male this time. This time we're going to be using Hercules, which has lineage back to CoverGirl, which is a very famous jungle carpet python. So we're going to be getting some of that blood floating in. So basically all new sire blood. And then, we'll have the Lagatha and Celeste blood stuff floating around then with those clutches. But that boy there, he's going to be doing some killer work over at Nathan's place, hopefully. And I'm anxious so we'll be hopefully having 2 jungle carpet clutches. And then Nathan's girl is all right, let me try to remember this. She's a caramel jag. So we could have caramel jungle jags. We could have jungle jags, like some absolutely killer stuff. So be ready for that. And then that'll be a split clutch between him and I. And so that's going to be cool. That's going to be really cool. I'm super excited about that one. So we got that stuff going to be coming up. Actually, I'm going to be starting to drop the temps and getting these guys ready to breed. Kind of get them in that breed mode. I start dropping temps during the fall time coming into winter. And when I go to start breeding, I'm going to start bringing those temps right back up a little bit slowly. And, kind of sets them off into breed mode. And then it's ready. It's time to rock and roll then at that point. So by probably about this end of December, I'll start pairing the jungles. I already have ball python clutch. I already have ball pythons breeding right now for 2025 season. I was going to ultrasound today. Again, I got to thank Nathan because he helped me kind of get a little schedule freed up here that gives me a little bit more free time. And today it was really nice, spent some more extra time with the kids and Kara and stuff. Kara then left, took the kids to Hershey Park, and it was supposed to be, Jeremy just goes to work and starts knocking stuff out. Well, that one thing that I wanted to knock out was ultrasounding. God, drew a blank. Wanted to do some ultrasounding, see where all the girls are at, because there's a couple girls that should be, getting about to that point now. Where I kind of start looking for an ovulation soon, hopefully. Like I would say probably end of November, start, getting ready for those ovulations. And then, needless to say, I didn't get to it. Hadley's getting a turtle this weekend. I don't know if Kara's bringing her out to Gettysburg or if I'm just supposed to pick one out, but Hadley is getting herself a pet turtle. So I was setting the tank up for that. And yeah, needless to say, I had to run get groceries. The day got away from me. But anyway, so no ultrasounding today. I will have to go ahead and get that done here at some point. And Riley's here. So I'll give him a minute here to get situated. I'll run another chat. Actually, I'm going to say hi to some people here yet that popped in. Let's see here. Oh, God, I'm going to screw this up. Reptiles. I apologize. Thanks for tuning in. I believe that you're new to the channel. Good to see you. Thank you very much for tuning in. Stephen and Courtney, Leviathan Snakes, what's going on? Good to see you. Heather, what's going on? Thanks for tuning in. Yes, everybody hit that like button. Greatly appreciate it. Jeremy, you need to, you need to get a carpet, dude. You need to just get over this whole little fear thing that you had at the at Hamburg, and you just need to jump on the carpet train, dude. You can't let that little spicy meatball scare you away, buddy. You can't do it. I'm going to run one more channel sponsor. It looks like Riley's ready to rock and roll, so I'll run this sponsor, and then we will bring Riley out.
Make sure you check out Nathan at Infinite Possible Pythons. He is your guy to go to if you want to get into the Bang project. On top of it, he's working a bunch of awesome ball python projects. Kahua geckos, Leachianus geckos, crested geckos, some scaleless corn snakes, and he is your one-stop shop for all your branding needs. So check him out. Check out Chris Shelley over at S Reptilia if you need a high-end ball python, blood python, locality boa, or colubrid. He's also Pennsylvania's distributor of Coco to Go and the Chipper, and he can also hook you up with some rats. So make sure you guys check out Chris over at S Reptilia.
All right. Thank you very much, Nathan and Chris. Greatly appreciate all the love and support. Let's go ahead and bring Riley on out. What's up, dude?
Not much. Just got home from work. Sorry, I'm a little tardy to the party.
Oh, dude. Like I told you before, man, like I get it. Like it sucks you got to work Sundays, though.
I'm used to it, man. I don't know what a normal weekend is. I had a normal weekend for like 9 months at one job, and that's it. Other than that, the past, I don't know, however many years since I started working in it, had normal weekends. Zoos, they don't give you normal weekends in order to distribute weekends evenly and make sure there's good coverage for all the areas. Everybody has odd 2-day weekends like Monday, Tuesday, or Wednesday, or Friday, Saturday, or Sunday, Monday, things like that.
Okay.
So everybody works Thursdays. Nobody has all the weekends off, so it kind of distributes the suck evenly. And yeah, so at the shop we kind of have a similar thing going. And, if we're open, I'm there. So I'm there 5 days a week. We're closed Monday, Tuesdays to give the animals a break right now, but we might change that in the future. But yeah.
Well, I guess this comes into play that the fact that you enjoy and love your job, so it makes it a little bit easier to digest, I guess.
Yeah. You know, Sundays during football season, I throw the games on the tablet at work and put it on the Bluetooth in the shop so people can hear the games. If they're interested, they can watch it at the register with me. Lately, though, Sundays have been pretty busy. Some pretty good sales. People getting back into animals and some stuff and getting some cool pets lately. So, but yeah,
Sweet.
man, it's never a dull moment. That's for sure.
No, I feel you, dude. I feel you. School of Crop. What is it? The good cocoa bedding, Coco to Go, or the Chipper, my friend. Hook up with Chris over there at S Reptilia, and if you're not local to us, he can find you the distributor closest to your area. But hit Chris up over at S Reptilia. So Riley, I gotta say, dude, I've been enjoying watching the pairing videos of you kind of highlighting what you're going to be, throwing together for the next coming season. And I gotta say, dude, holy crap, with some of the most beautiful carpets I have seen. Like, I didn't get to finish it because I kept being sidetracked today, but I was watching the Popwin stuff today. Because I start watching and then the kids sidetrack me and then I forget to go back, and so it's been a hard video for me to actually get to sit down and watch.
Fair.
But dude, your red man, holy crap!
Yeah, he's good. He's good.
Like he is just absolutely freaking stunning, dude.
Thank you. He makes some pretty good looking babies too. So.
Now, are you like the one thing I've noticed is that, and let me know if you've seen this as well too. It seems like there's been a little bit of a surge of people wanting to get into the Morelia side of the hobby.
Yeah, I definitely see a lot more new keepers coming into this side. I mean, there's always been, a degree of it every year that I've paid attention to, but it does seem like it's growing. There's more folks who are interested in just getting one as a pet or having a couple display animals, and it kind of fits what their interests are a lot more than say people's interests were geared towards a few years ago. And it's refreshing, man. It's cool to see. There's a lot of people that are coming in and they're like, I just found out about these, and 9 times out of 10 they've done a pretty good deep dive and found Nick's website and the book and a few Facebook groups, and they're already, speaking the language, so to speak, within, the first couple of days. And it's nice. Like a couple months ago, I sold a woman her first jungle carpet, and that's exactly what she came to the Sacramento show for. And
Oh, nice.
I had exactly one female jungle on the table, and it just worked out. So yeah. But yeah, I love it. I think I've been making a conscious effort personally to try and portray them in such a way that would communicate towards the pet keeper, the 99% of people that keep reptiles that are not breeders, because I can sell a carpet python to snake keepers and snake breeders. That's easy, but that's such a slim, margin, and those folks are already very project focused and oriented and kind of have a direction. So to pull them off a direction is actually not the easiest, but the new keeper or somebody who just doesn't have any of the misconceptions about them, they're wide open. They're blank canvas, man. And so you can show them all the best about them, and you get them hooked pretty quick because you say a few good things about them, put a nice one in their hands, and the animal does the work for you. They're pretty addicting, as you know.
Oh, dude. I know when I got the first one, which would be that big guy up there.
Mm-hmm.
Pedro, Funky Morelia, I told him, I was like, yeah, this is my first one. I was like, I might get another one. And he laughed at me, like literally just laughed at me. And I was like, what's so funny, man? He goes, this is just the start of a very, very bad thing for you. He said, but you're going to love every bit of it. Yep. And he was right. Like,
yeah, very few people have just one.
Oh, dude, yeah. This year I told myself I wasn't going to keep any holdbacks. If I was going to have holdbacks, I was going to have like one. I have 5.
It happens.
Dude, oh my God. Some of those babies, dude, it just, like, they can't, like, just right out of the egg, it's just like, yeah, well, nope, you're not going. It's just like, damn it.
Yeah.
So,
you'll watch them grow, you'll watch them shed, and then you'll be glad you kept them.
Oh, dude, all 5 of them are just like the yellow's already starting to come in. I mean, the one boy, he looks like he's almost a diamond python. Like, remember that one that I had that was really tipped out last season? Mm-hmm. He's even more tipped out than that guy.
That's awesome. You have some animals that throw a lot of tipping, which you don't see as much anymore because everybody went for the clean black stuff. So it's kind of refreshing to see that stuff.
Yeah, well, see, that's the one. Like, I would love. I'm on the look for a very nice majority black animal that's got some yellows, but just black with no tipping to it. I know every once in a while you pop 1 or 2 out that kind of fit that bill. So I'm always watching your stuff because I want to try to line breed if I can't line breed for an all black throughout the years, kind of limit the yellow every time. But then I also enjoy that tipped out look as well.
You know who else you should look at and pay attention to is Ben Diamond Exotics. I think it's like Ben_Diamond Exotics. He's got the same eye for the heavy black stuff, and he's doing some projects with Peter Lombardi out in New York, some joint pairings with some jungles, and they're making some nice pretty stacked lineage animals. But he's got some animals in his quiver, we'll say, and he's aiming for really high black stuff. He's got some animals that are very clean, low tipping, and all the banding is really, really thin, and nice complementary pairs that should yield, similar results, if not better. So remind me, I'll send you his Instagram and stuff so you can keep an eye on his stuff too. But yeah, you never know what's gonna pop out with jungles, man, because my 2 clutches last season, every single parent involved was heavily tipped, and I got some that have no tipping and some that do. So they can surprise you.
I know I've come down to the conclusion that with my one female, she's got a, I don't want to say an extremely nice stripe, but she's got a decent stripe to her. And my main male, the big male there, to her, I always get a couple striped babies.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I did another pairing with my buddy from Chris from S Reptilia with his girl Celeste, which actually Mike Curtin produced.
Mm-hmm.
And those babies, there was not one stripe at all, but some of the most beautiful banded animals I've ever seen. That's the one where I kept a 2.2 out of that one. Just
nice.
When those four hatched out, dude, like they were literally black and white. There wasn't no gray. After their first shed, it was just black and white. I'm just like, oh, okay.
Those are keepers. Yeah, those are keepers for sure. I had a couple like that too. As soon as you see them, you just know they stand out from the rest of the clutch. They have their first shed, and you're just like, where did you come from?
Yep.
Yeah.
The best part was too, I keep looking over just because like I can't, like, I don't know, it's like an OCD thing. It was funny because the 1.1 of them are so chill, laid back, they don't care about anything. They're just like, meh, whatever. The other 1.1, the female, she'll let you get her out, but she's a little defensive, I guess, a little standoffish. But she, for the most part, she kind of calms down quickly. Now the other male, he just like, he'll be finding out nowhere. He'll just swing around and crack you one, and then he'll go back to acting like nothing ever happened. It's just like, you little sucker, you.
Sounds like a zebra.
Yeah, well, I think that's what makes them so fun, though. I know everybody says that they're so nippy, they paint them in a bad light, but there's so little. That's what makes them fun, is dealing with the little attitude and working them through it.
Yeah, I agree. It is pretty endearing on a baby. It's pretty cute. Most of them, like you said, work through it. Even if you're just doing, a little spot cleaning, picking them up once in a while and doing that, they figure it out and they chill out. But it's definitely recommended to get them out of that while they're young. It sucks when they decide to just pop you in the face and they're 5 years old.
Oh, I'm taking you learned that from experience.
Oh yeah. Raise up a super zebra and it'll happen. Super zebras, just for whatever reason, even the nice ones, they're always a little twitchy. It's just a thing. And certain times of year, my female, she's been on a good one lately. If you let them get hungry, man, they'll get you. So
it kind of correlates with breeding season then, and the because you stop feeding over the winter, correct? Get them kind of ramped up and geared.
Yeah, last Tuesday was my last big round of feeding for pretty much all the carpets. I will go through and check everybody again, check their feeding records this Tuesday, just to make sure nobody's about to enter winter on like a 3 or 4 week empty spell. And I'll, my population of animals, it's still under 200, so I can still go through and like visually look at every feeding record and look at them for a split second and kind of be like, okay, what have you been up to? In shed, active, not, what are we doing? Do you need to eat? And then gauge it based on the time of the year, if they're an adult or not, what my plans for them are, and kind of tailor every time that I'm pulling food out of the freezer for a specific goal that day. And that keeps me pretty efficient and very low waste on the food bill, which is nice. But it takes a little extra time. If I had an even larger population, I don't know if I'd, be able to do it like that. But I guess we'll find out in the future. But yeah, I just finished up the last heavy round of feeding for everybody, and everybody's gonna get from pretty much now until February with no food, with the exception of maybe, some babies that might be a little bit behind the curve.
Okay.
I'll still check them. They're going to get a little bit cooler. The babies go through the same winter that, my adults do. Not quite as extreme in terms of like they're not their fins aren't getting down into the 60s or anything like that, but them turning the heat down at night and it's coming back up during the day, just like the adults, and they're experiencing the cooler ambient and lack of food, and I firmly believe that helps condition the animals to live longer, healthier lives, be a little bit more fit and robust, handle a little bit more of the stress that the life can throw at them, and then if your goals for breeding are that, then they're a little bit prepared for some winter cycling and food cycling at that stage. So it's not a shock when you decide to drop them into the 70s or even lower. So
See, that's the one thing, because this is one of the things I wanted to get into too, because I do it a little bit differently, and I've always kind of like, I don't want to say I don't want to put it. I've thought about going your way with it, but then I've had 2 successful seasons with my method, so it's kind of like, if it's not broke, don't fix.
yeah,
Don't fix
exactly.
it.
If it ain't broke, don't fix it. No, I firmly believe that too. My way of doing it is not the only way of doing it.
Yes, but
There's 2 different camps in that, and it's funny. My boss is very much probably in the same approach you are. He's starting to, he likes to, his sort of mental approach is feed a bunch in the fall, get everybody fed up. That's pretty similar. But then when it comes to like the first, he waits for the first rain after Halloween. It's
okay,
just kind of like his weird little thing, and that's when he starts his pairings. Now, he doesn't work with a bunch of carpet pythons like I do, but he works with a lot of everything, from boas to blood pythons to balls to, we're doing Angolans and king snakes and milk snakes and blackheads and womas and whatever else. That might be everything, but probably not. Um, and right now, although we're allowing, because the shop is a big warehouse, they do get some cool nights still on. We're not really tinkering much with the heat, and they're still being fed. My boss actually likes to feed a lot more in the winter, and
okay,
that's very similar to how Ryan Young approaches his Indonesian animals. He feeds them more in the winter and less in the summer.
okay. See, I just have mine on like a once every 2 week thing.
Hmm.
Now, as I start breeding them, the male's in there. He just kind of chillaxes with her the whole time. I'll
Hmm.
pull him out every so often, maybe
Hmm.
once every 2 weeks, maybe even 3 weeks. Separate them, see if they both want a meal, and then after that, let them digest for a couple of days. Throw them back together then. But I was
I don't.
interested to see that you put the babies through
Hmm.
the same cycle, because that's one thing I didn't know that you would do. That's interesting. That's cool.
Not everybody does that as well. And again, I don't think it's right or wrong. And from talking to plenty of other people, you're not the only one who does it that way too. Um,
Okay.
so, and as you said earlier, you've had success, so it obviously works,
It worked for me
right?
anyway.
Yeah, exactly. So, that just goes to show there's more than one way to approach it. I started doing the baby thing with them pretty early on after being a student of other people and listening to a lot of other people, but then like Eric Burke had a big influence on me in the earlier years in my breeding, and he does that. And he got me thinking about that. And so I started putting my babies through a gradual winter, and I find they do really well with it. So they come out of the winter ravenous. They're hungry. They haven't really lost a lot of weight. Um, and yeah, they're going to be a little bit smaller than everybody else's, but I don't think that's a problem. I don't think it's a problem that other people feed through the winter either. I just think it's different. Um, my animals will be a little bit slow grown, but they'll still milestones and get to the same size as other animals. So yeah. Uh,
See, Jeremy here, it says, Riley, didn't you use little portable AC units inside your enclosures to drop the temps? I can't remember what you were pairing, but I remember a video with you using the ACs. What were they?
So that was 2 years ago. I was trying to breed my Brettles Pythons here at home by keeping them in the room, but putting an AC in there to try and force it. Now, I wasn't using like a big, like actual stand-up AC unit that can really pump something. I just use like a little portable thing. And I was able to get them to like 60 degrees a couple times, but it just didn't end up working for me. Uh, they got cold and they were fine and they locked up plenty, but nothing happened. And then the following year, which would have been last season, instead of doing that again, I set up 2 enclosures in the back of the warehouse at the shop. I brought my little Govee reader in there and I checked out how cold it would get at night. Yeah, I only got them down to 60 with that little portable thing. It was successful as I needed. I needed to get them into the 50s. But at the shop, because it's the back is not insulated in places and we got roll-up doors and stuff, it can get into the high 40s. And I just set up 2 Exoterras at the shop with basking lights on timers to go on for about 6.5 hours or so, and set the Brettles up there. And they got friggin' cold. They hit like 47, 49 a couple times, dude. They got real cold. And I would check on them. I'd hit the temp gun on them. I'd like touch them. They're ice cold, man. And they're still tongue flicking. They're looking at me. And they, they'd go like a couple days without the heat, and then they'd go to the heat for a few hours, and then they'd ignore it for a few days. Like they really do like cold. And yeah, I had a successful time breeding Brettles for the first time. So I got them down to like 47 degrees one night.
Dude, all right. When I think of a snake hitting in the 40s, like even 50s, it's like, good God, like
Oh,
how do they function after hitting that? But here's the thing, like for anybody that this is a little teaser for everybody as well. Soon I will be having a pair of diamond pythons because that's my next venture. So I'm going to have to learn to suffer through watching these animals get cold as shit in the winter.
Dude, you will get over it really quickly because they're active, man. They're totally fine. I have my diamonds in the living room right now on just like an extended quarantine, and I have no heat on them whatsoever. They get the rise and fall of the room. They're on top of a tank that has heat elements, so they get a little bit of the ambient warmth from that radiates up. But shit, if it gets into the 60s here at night, they're fine. They're out hunting. They're okay. And the first couple days you see them doing that and you check on them, you're like, I guess you are fine. Like it's nuts. The key is making sure they can warm back up during the day when it comes to those cold night temps in the breeding cycle. I'm still allowing those Brettles to get to bask if they choose at about an 85-degree hotspot for up to 6.5, 7 hours. So if I weren't doing that, then I would be running into respiratory infections probably.
See, I feel like I'm still trying to figure out where. So I'm doing the snake room expansion. I was hoping it would be done by now because that's kind of got me up against the wall, literally, because I've got 2 jungles that are ready to be put into their adult enclosures. I mean, it'll be big for them, but they're ready, in my opinion.
They'll be fine.
And then I've got the gelatin that's basically borderline that size too. So I've got 3 that are ready to bump up into new enclosures. I've got the 5 over here growing up. Plus, I've got the 2 diamonds that will be coming in from Gary here shortly. Hopefully, like I think he said middle of November, they should be ready to rock and roll.
Nice.
But yeah, so it's like they'll live down here for the summer. And then I think I might put them up in the man cave because it gets colder up there. Like I'm not really up there a whole lot anymore to begin with, sadly. So, it'll get nice and chilled up there at night at least.
Just put them in a glass tank of any sort of your choosing, whether it be Simple or Exoterra or Reptizoo or Zilla or anything like that, and then throw a little basking bulb on them. And, because that screen and glass combo will allow that ambient to really take hold. And so that cool night air or just not being overwhelmingly insulated when it is heated will work in their favor a lot.
Okay.
There's
Yeah.
Zilla and Reptizoo cages that are coming out there, these like quick assemble sort of things, and they've got side ventilation built into them. So it's like partial glass, partial side ventilation, and top ventilation. We just got some of them at the shop, and I'm eyeballing them like those are perfect for raising up diamonds because it's like a 20-gallon with front opening, but it's also screen top that you can take off and side screen vents. It's glass, it's sturdy. Dude, those and they stack, and there's enough airflow in between where you could put a heat pad if you were doing something else in there. I mean,
that's kind of.
There's some good innovation coming out, man.
I was gonna say I've never heard of this. That is some good stuff popping out.
Yeah, Zilla has it out on the market right now, and I think Reptizoo does too. If you go on Amazon, a lot of the stuff in there is Reptizoo. But it's going to be coming a lot more soon. A lot of the shops down in SoCal are carrying it. We're going to start carrying it. It's good stuff. We've talked to the reps. My boss has gone out to Vegas for the conference to see the products, and it's obviously tailored to the the general public, the pet market. But as far as breeding applications, they've still got their hat in that game too. So there's racks, there's thermostats with heat pads with built-in thermostats, a lot of different things like that they're innovating. So the pet game is about to get a little bit more sophisticated too. So it's pretty cool to see.
I think that's the heat pads and stuff with like the built-in thermostats. That's something that that's just very smart. That should have been done a while ago. And like I just got done. I was setting up my daughter's new turtle tank today, and I found a little fan at the pet store. I think ZooMed makes it. Don't quote me on. I think it was ZooMed though, but it's a fan to help circulate the water. But it's also a heater.
Yep.
With the built-in thermostat. I saw that. I thought it's like, why the hell do they have this for a freaking turtle tank? But yet we don't have heat pads with the built-in thermostat like this. And now you just said about it, so it's like poof. All right, the people are talking.
You're gonna start seeing LEDs, UV LEDs in low-profile light strips now. So
okay,
you'll be able to, in theory, still provide UV to racks and slim profiles and stackable cages and stuff like that. So the game's growing, man. A lot of cool stuff.
And that's cool that you get to even see this stuff probably before most other people even hear about it, just because of where you're working too.
Yeah, if it's stuff that we choose to bring in or work with, we can definitely get it before a lot of people even know about it. Just because of how long some of the stuff takes to trickle out to the mainstream. But yeah, it's cool, man. I live on both sides of the fence. You know what I mean? Like I'm in the pet world and the breeder world. I'm in the hobby and the professional world. It's I get a little bit of taste of everything. It's kind of nice.
Are you still doing the PVC enclosures too? Like, because I know you were heading that up. I haven't heard or seen anything recently about it, so I wasn't sure if you guys were still in that venture or.
We've slowed down a bit on it. We still have a few, but we've gone through a lot of our PVC supplies. So we actually need to restock soon because we do have plans to build out a few more walls of cages in this back room of the shop. We're kind of building like this mini reptile zoo in this back area of the warehouse.
Ooh,
and so
okay.
two walls, two basically like L shapes of walls are going to be comprised of 2 stacks of 6-foot cages, a couple stacks of 3-footers, and then another stack of some bigger cages eventually. So yeah, we're still doing the CNC stuff. My boss still has the CNC machine. It's just slowed down a little bit this time of year. So
okay,
yeah,
sweet. Let me run another channel sponsor here, dude, and then I've got a very good topic I want us to dive into because you made a very smart business move. In case anybody hasn't watched Riley's channel, man did a very smart business move, and I think we all need to kind of we need to watch out. We need to watch out for this kind of stuff because it's going to boost the Morelia market, I think, a lot. So let's run through another channel sponsor here quick.
Head on over to Triforce Morphs if you're looking for that missing piece in your ball python breeding project. While you're there, add a little bit of lace or citron to the mix, folks. John and Christine can also hook you up with the crested gecko, so don't forget that. Turn up the heat with Triforce Morphs. If you want to use the best reptile record keeping and tracking software on the market today, scan the QR code or click our partnership link in the description down below for a free 30-day trial of Husbandry Pro. I promise you, you will not regret it.
Kira Moreland, what's going on? Thanks for tuning in. New face. Make sure you guys hit that like button, everybody. Please hit the like button. If you're new, hit the subscribe button as well. Greatly appreciate all the love and support. Definitely hit that notification bell and make sure that is rung. So, Riley, you gave two very influential people a carpet. Do you want to talk a little bit about that and kind of tell us what snake you gave them and what your thought process was behind that move? Because I thought it was very ingenious as a business move.
Yeah, so it was all just sort of like how do I say it? It was very organic in how it came about. Ed and Emily from Snake Discovery have been the last couple shows promoted by our local Sacramento Reptile show. They do a lot of touring around the country, and they do like meet and greets for their wonderful audience. It's growing by the millions everywhere. And so they were at the show. They do meet and greets both days, and while they're there, they do some filming and try and adopt out some of their rescues and all that good stuff. And we had spoken ahead of time. She was coming to the show. She knew that I was going to be there. I'd been promoting all on social media, and we have a lot of mutual friends.
Okay.
Like it's like 2 degrees of separation. Like I'm good friends with Brian Cusco, so he goes to their build off all the time and does that stuff. So it just kind of worked out, and they came and did some filming, and so because I knew they were coming, I brought an adult breeder female of all the types that I've bred so far, a Brettles, a Coastal, a Jungle, a Papuan, and I brought my female albino Darwin, and I gifted them at the end of our interview. We talked for about 3-4 minutes. I gifted them an albino Darwin female from that clutch. It was my first time producing them, and we were talking, and I had the mom out, and I gifted it to them. We had spoken a little bit about their carpet python they had in the zoo. She had some questions. I helped her answer some questions, told her if she ever had more, she could always reach out. And basically, we formed a friendship at that point. And I told her I would give her a snake, and she's like, no, you don't have to do that. And then she kind of forgot about it. And then at the show, I was like, oh, like, here you go. She was really shocked. She didn't think I was going to do it. And I was like, no, yeah, serious, here you go. And it was purely because like I'm on this mission to just like keep promoting carpet pythons, right? I think they're underrepresented. I think they're overlooked. I think their older reputation still trickles out a little bit, that they're these 10-foot bitey monsters, which is not true. I've never even met one that was 10 feet. But it's just, it's just like this mission of goodwill that I feel like I owe to the reptile community and these snakes that just like do so much for me. And Ed and Emily are arguably two of the nicest people in the reptile world. And you could argue that they, along with the Barczyk family in that channel, have some of the largest positive influence on that community as a whole. And so it was, partially to give them an awesome snake so they could have it in their zoo, and partially because they, as a thank you for giving me a couple minutes to share with their audience about these animals, because I know how many millions of subscribers they have. And so to even give me a couple minutes on their channel is humbling. They're very important people. They have to research who they're gonna interview and film and talk to and make sure they're not, interviewing a Samson or something like that. And
Interviewing some jackass. Yeah, no, I got
yeah, I
you.
mean they're very public figures. They have to, it's kind of the downside of being so public is you have to mind your P's and Q's and kind of
Yep.
know what mess you might be stepping in without even realizing it, because you get associated with things that you might not even realize.
Well, there's so
And
many kids that watch their channel too, so like they've
oh my
really got to
gosh,
keep that in mind as well.
yeah,
I mean, they're bringing
absolutely.
in the next generation.
Absolutely. It's a very, very, they could cause a lot of damage with if they were careless, right?
Yep.
So they're on top of their game. They're some of the best at it, and it was like the least I could do uh to say thank you. You know what I mean? Like and I had already sort of planned on doing this before their video came out, which I had no idea. A bunch of their stuff got stolen. I found
Yeah, I
out
saw
that
that.
their
I didn't
car
get to
got
watch the
broken
video,
into.
but I saw that.
Yeah, so Sacramento's finest. Um, it's just a product of the ridiculous state that is California right now. Everybody's lawless and broke and stressed out in certain neighborhoods, and these are the symptoms of that. And unfortunately, they're from a beautiful place in Minnesota where they don't have that sort of crime and nonsense, and so they can leave, luggage in a I mean, it's ridiculous to even think somebody's just gonna break into a freaking a rental car in a hotel parking lot and steal somebody's luggage. Like 9 times out of 10, that's clothes in there. What do you think you're doing? Like that's like that's probably what, like, if they're stealing clothes, they're in a bad situation. I feel bad for those people, but my God, the state of our state has made it so bad. But that's a whole nother discussion. But yeah, they're so nice, and it was a nice little it was like a positive ending to their trip out here. So I was happy to do it. I didn't even think of it that way, and then like I was reading all the comments on their video when it came out, and so many people were making that point. They're like, oh, that was really nice after they kind of had a bummer of a show. I was like, oh, I didn't even think of it that way. That's true. So
It is,
anything I
but
can do, man, that's what it's all about.
and then like I look after seeing that video and you being so generous and giving them one and everything, I kind of got the thing. It's like, you know what? So you probably weren't thinking about it at the time, but putting them at how do I want to put it? With them having another one, now they're going to make videos about it. They'll make content about it. They'll paint them even more in a better light than what you or I or some other people do, because
Sure.
their reach that they have,
Yeah.
which will then drive more people to want them. Like hiddenly, it was a good. I hate saying business move, but I mean, it kind of in a sense. But I mean, like a marketing for Morelia. Let's put it that way. It was a good marketing for Morelia, because what better people to paint them and reach out to so many others than Ed and Emily? Like that was
Yeah.
Not only was it super kind of generous, but it's going to have amazing results down the line.
Yeah. I when she had initially reached out to me before the interview, that's when I found out they actually have a coastal of some sort in their zoo, which I thought was really cool. But they didn't know a ton about it and its background or anything. And so I thought, well, why not get you something that you'll know everything about? And it'll be a showstopper when it's an adult. And you'll be able to raise it from a baby, and you'll be able to tell its story, and you'll be able to change millions of people's ideas about this animal.
Yep.
And that was the realization after. I was just really looking forward to being able to put carpet pythons in front of her audience just by virtue of the interview. I was just like, oh, how cool would it be to give them a carpet python? How stoked would they be? And then I was like, that's kind of a burden though, like just to unexpectedly spring a snake on somebody. like you should probably double check that. And I was like, well, I'll run it by them. And I know a lot of people do that, and they ship things back and they fly and they can handle it. And I was like, you know what? They deserve this. They do a lot of good for the community at large. And if they're giving me a couple minutes of their time to talk about these animals that I'm infatuated with, then I'm just gonna put my money where my mouth is and show them how much I love them and just give them out. You know what I mean? Like I've given away a lot of snakes this year. Let's just put it like that. Like I'm not sadomasochistic to my business or anything. I'm not trying to like, drive myself into debt or anything, but there are some situations where like I just can't take money for an animal. You know what I mean? Like it needs to be done. Um, people are hurting financially in some situations, some places, and you know, if we can put a little bit of a good flavor on it in some way and give somebody a little bit of positivity in their life when they're stressed out about money, like obviously if an animal requires food and that's going to cost money, but if the barrier to entry is the cost of the animal,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like give the kid the gecko, you know what I mean? Like whatever it is. Like I've done that. I don't know how many times. Like here, take it, man. Have it. You need it. You want it. It's yours.
And then
So,
they'll remember that. They'll come back to you. I mean, like
or
that's
if they
just
don't, it doesn't
that's
matter.
just
They at least have a positive experience with reptiles. You know what I mean? Like
true.
even if that's the one they keep forever and they don't do anything else, like they'll never say anything bad about the reptile community though. They'll always be stoked on it. And then somebody will come over to the house and you just never know. And yeah, I just think it's like the coolest thing to like see people get all stoked on something like that. So
No, that's true. That's true. Now I do when you're at shows, all right, and you've got people eyeing up some of these babies because let's face it, I mean the carpets they draw attention real quick. At least around shows here because there's like nobody else really has them. I mean, if Mike Curtin's there, Mike's got them, but other than that, it's normally just me or Owen. If I'm at Hamburg, Owen's there, which that bad dude, that bastard, that rat bastard, man. You know what he did before the last Hamburg? Posted like the most National Geographic photo of a roughie. Okay, like absolute majestic looking freaking picture of this thing. I'm just like that son of a bitch. Like it made me want to buy one so bad. I actually walked over to him before the show started. I was like, "You bastard, you rat bastard!" And he just starts laughing. I was like, "It's all because I think I need to have a roughie too." He goes, "Well, just here you go. Take, right there they are." It's like I can't do it though. I can't do it yet, man. I can't do it.
Yeah, he's good
but,
at that. Those are on my list too, for sure.
But when you do have people eyeing them up, and this is actually more for my sake because I'm curious because I think I kind of need help on this one. Like the last three I've got, they're the one's a pistol. Like he says they're locked and loaded all show, man. Like I can pull him out here and he's not too bad. You take him to a show, he's ready to rock and roll.
Yeah.
There's another one that at the show they just let it all fly, literally. And then the other one's pretty chill. When it comes down to you've got like for me, I've got those three. How do you paint them in a positive light? I mean, because obviously people are going to want to hold them before they buy them.
Yeah.
Chances are when you got one that's doing a fan of musk and shit, that's not, going to attract someone to want to buy you. When you've got someone that's a little snappy, they're not going to, they're less likely to want to buy. Sure. How do you work around that stuff? Because I feel as though, like, if you're getting a carpet, because this actually happened recently too. I had someone message me saying they wanted to get a jungle from me. They wanted to get it as a family pet. And I was like, that's awesome. It's like, this is what I have. If there's anything that interests you, let me know. I was like, but you have to realize these are baby carpets. It's like, they may end up, it's like they may be calm here. I was like, but that's not saying that the change of environment isn't going to flip that switch, because everyone that I've shipped off to a new home, the switch got flipped, and I get a message going, how come this thing wants to kill me? It's just like, just work with them. They will get over it. They were fine here.
Yeah.
So how do you market that to, put them in that positive light again?
Yeah, no, that's a very good question. It's that's the reality of working with semi-arboreal and Australasian evolved pythons. Babies are survivors. They're living in some pretty wicked areas with some gnarly predation and scarce access to food. They've got to be survivors, and we're big monsters to them. So one of the things I try to I'll first of all ask them a couple questions, find out what their experience with snakes is, what they have. Usually in the first 30 seconds, you can kind of tell whether or not they're going to be keen on that or not, and you can kind of gauge, like, especially if you know which babies are more prone to be a little feisty. You maybe avoid those ones when you're showing them. But you talk with them. You kind of tell them, like, look, here, I'm going to bring this animal out. He's a little bit stressed. We're in unfamiliar territory. This is a lot of people going on. This isn't his home, and when you get him home, he's going to have to adjust to that too. And the first thing you want to do is make sure they're eating. Don't handle them. Let them be, and then start working on the relationship. But the biggest thing to do is if you're confident in your knowledge of your animals and the process and what you're explaining them, they're going to pick up on that. And then the other half of that coin is be available to them after. Always. If they give them your contact information, give them your Instagram, give them your email, whatever it is, make sure they can get a hold of you after the fact, cell phone number, whatever it is you're comfortable with, because you want to make sure that you offer that support, because that's where they're going to question themselves. If there's any hesitation, like the animal doesn't eat the first week, or if it's a sweetheart at the show and then they get home and they put it in a cage and it's terrified and it's defensive, and it was never like that before with you as a breeder. Like that does happen. And some people expect it. Some people are totally fine and they know that's part of the deal and they figure it out. But it's not usually the first time pet keeper. So if that does happen, that's where that ongoing, connection and support will really be helpful. Another thing that is very helpful is to have adults at the show if you can.
Okay.
Now, obviously, there's a lot of concern about cross-contamination and ectoparasites at shows, and I don't let people hold my adults. They're there for look only. I will take them out and hold them and show them how I can handle them. But usually people will see an adult and they'll be like, well, I want that. So I'm waiting. So I'm willing to like put up with a little nippiness in a baby to get to that.
Yeah.
That really helps too. But yeah, it really comes just communicating with them, just being available for them. And if you have the time, working with the animals before the show, handle them a little bit. If you're spot cleaning, take a second, play with them, give them some tactile contact, let them get some experiences, work them, pet them in places that you maybe don't normally, like on top of their back and near their tail, and get them used to some of these things for just a couple minutes here and there, and put them away. And then, by the time they've had a couple weeks of that under their belt, as far as it go, the show might not be that traumatic and they might adjust very easily when they get there. But every snake is different, and like you said, a change of scenery can really flip the switch. And if you let them know that too, then if you're completely honest with them but available before, during, and after, then you've done your due diligence. And you just put your best foot forward as that goes, and let them know, like, these things are from Australia. Everybody thinks things from Australia are trying to kill them. These ones aren't, but they don't want you to know that.
I was gonna say, but they think you're trying to kill them. So.
Yeah, they don't want you to know that, because they're this big and we're this big. So
yep.
Yeah.
I know. I always take my 2 yearlings along, just because the adult colors are in. They still fit nice into one of my larger section displays. Because then I don't have to lug the stupid tower along, because I've been trying to have a max selection of hatchlings for the balls. So but if I take the tower, that just kills a whole display for hatchlings. So the yearlings have been spot on for taking, because I mean you still get to have that wow factor of the blacks and the yellows. And like you said, I do pull those out, let people say, hey, they are nice. They are fun to work with. It's like, you just gotta, like you said, I do tell them, you gotta put some work into them sometimes. You get in what you get, you get out of them what you put into them, is how I've always described it. It's like those, mine are as docile and tame as what they are, because I worked with them religiously. Yeah. Now the 5 that I'm raising up now, that for my holdbacks, plus the other 3 that are still available, I've not had as much free time to work with them here lately, which sucks. And that's partially where it comes down to, like, for at the shows and stuff, why they probably act the way they do, because I haven't had that chance to work with them as much hands-on time as what my yearlings got.
Right.
So that's been like the big challenge, I think, with those, is probably just, I need to dedicate like a handling night and go through and be like, all right, we're going to work on this shit.
Yeah. That combined with just time. Once they get a little bit of age and size under the belt, they get a little more confident. So, yeah.
I know when Pedro told me that, he said one day, it'll be like a light switch got flipped and they won't care about you anymore. He said, like, the day before, they might still think you're out to get them. He said, and then just poof. It's like one day you'll go to work with them and you're nothing anymore. It's just like, really? And sure as shit, that's what happened. It's just kind of, this is interesting.
Sometimes it's around the 2-year-old mark at the worst case scenarios, but they eventually just say, whatever.
It was actually Xander there, the big one. It was him. Like he was probably about 2.5 when the switch finally got flipped. Now, cage wise, he's still a little cage defensive.
Yeah.
But once you get him out, then he's fine. Like he's super chill after he's out.
Yeah. I tell people all carpet pythons will be territorial and cage defensive after dark, at the very least. As soon as lights go out and it is nighttime, everything is fair game for getting nailed. So that don't take it personally. But don't do cleaning after dark if you can help it.
Dude, I don't even turn all the lights changes at night.
Dude, light turns off. I'm like, well, that's all I'm doing today. Unless it's feeding, of course. But they're just intelligent snakes, man. They're for everybody who wants a snake that you kind of got to earn it a little bit, Although that's not to say that there aren't some that are just sweethearts right out of the gate. There's always, as many of those as there are the little rude ones. So, and they do change. I sent some Brettles out recently, and these Brettles are all little sweethearts. And a couple people wrote back, they're like, "Oh, he's striking at me a ton." I'm like, "Well, that's news to me. He wasn't doing that before." But I always communicate with them and reinforce, like, just let them settle in, handle them. They'll learn that you're their new, food monkey, and that there's nothing to be afraid of, and you'll be good.
Yeah. Well, no, it's funny because when I came down here for the live, the lights were all off, the room was all dark, and of course, they to all 3 same position, like, and
they're ready to rock.
That's because they know food comes in from the other side, so they're ready. They're ready to rock and roll. Yeah. So of course, I always have to, like, they're the highlight of the background. I always enjoy having them in the background because they do move around a little bit, so it's fun for the audience to watch them too.
Yeah, but absolutely.
It's like, say at the end, they just ate yesterday and they're still like.
You know what they say. The hungriest snake is the one who just ate.
No, dude, I swear I don't even think they realize that they ate. Like, they're pigs.
Yeah, that's another thing about carpet pythons. If you're annoyed by picky feeders, that's not generally in the repertoire of carpet pythons. At least unless you're a breeder, then you're going to experience that in establishing babies. But yeah, generally, once you got them, we're good to go. They will eat.
I was say I didn't even have. I've gotten all the babies switched over to rat pinkies real easy this year, but
Nice.
one. There's one, and it's the just downright most gorgeous female I've ever produced so far to date. And Nick Mutton actually commented on a picture of her saying she's going to be gorgeous as an adult. It's just like, yes, the man himself gave me a compliment. That's awesome. But like, she'll come out, she'll look at it. Even with scenting, dude, like I can't fool her with scenting it either. It's just kind of like, ugh. But then you take your mouth in there and poof, she'll pop it real quick. It's just like,
so
damn
she
it.
wants mice.
Yep.
Yeah. Eventually, even those ones, they come around. I find, figure out what the babies want to eat first, get them going, and then, if they're going to stay with you, then you'll have plenty of time to get them on what you need them to. And there's some animals that I've got an animal that was eating rats totally fine, and then just decided he was like, nope, I just want mice. And so I just gave him mice for a couple weeks, and was like, cool, have some mice. And he was like smashing these mice, just going absolutely nuts for them. And then I was like, yeah, I'm done with that. Here's a rat. And he just took the rat and never looked back. And I was like, you're an idiot. So sometimes, they'll just give up on their own nonsense and just be like, okay, I'll just take whatever you feed me. Some of them they switch on and they just hit this point where they're just absolute garbage disposals.
Dude, that's funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I'm done with that now.
Yeah, I was like, no more of this. You need to grow. Bye.
Well, see, that's the thing. Like, I get it. Yeah, I've been told by so many people, if they want to eat mice, that's what they want to eat. Just let them eat it, whatever. And I'm there thinking, it's like, but that, like, and maybe it's just me. But I'm there thinking, like, there's not that much nutrition in a mouse. Like, you got to put a couple mice into one animal. And maybe I'm looking at it wrong.
Well, she's still young, so you've definitely got plenty of time to get her on the program. But yeah, I mean, if she's gonna stay a mouse, or like, I don't know, anybody who wants to feed an adult female like 4 or 5 mice in a sitting, that's quite time consuming, and it's not any cheaper. 4 or 5 mice probably cost the same as much as a large rat nowadays anyway. So it's like, you're not doing yourself any favors either. And if you want her to breed, give her something with fat. Give her a rat, and if she's not taking them, then that's what you want to work on. You could do birds, you could do quail, chicks, things like that. One of the things that I've found for cross scenting is, if we're doing frozen thawed, is thawing mice and rats in the same bag together, and just kind of polluting each other's scents with one another's scent. And in that way, there's sort of this amorphous rodent scent, and it'll throw them off for a few weeks. And I've been pretty successful getting animals switched over, doing the cross scenting in bags like that.
Okay. See, I haven't done the cross scenting in bags yet like that. What I like, because the gelatin's really good for it. 1 week she'll take a rat pup, poof, no problem, won't even question it. The next week, or I should say the next feeding, because I feed her every 2 weeks. She'll come up to it, she'll rush up to it and like, nah, that doesn't smell right. I'm just like, you just nailed this the last feeding, no problem. So I'll take one of the mice from, one of the hatchlings or one of the babies, just real quick, rub the mouse over it, put it in, poof, she'll pop. It's like, literally, how much scent got on that? Just it's like, come on now.
Apparently enough.
So they are quirky, folks. They are quirky to an extent.
I find that any animals that are going through whatever sort of stage like that, it's temporary.
Yeah.
So
I know. Well, let's run another channel sponsor. Everybody in the chat, you guys are all quiet tonight. That either means that means you guys must be soaking up some of this knowledge and conversations. But if you guys have any questions for Riley, so I know there's a few people in here that have gotten carpets from me. So if you guys have any questions for Riley or want to, talk shop or whatever, put some questions in the chat there. and we'll run this channel sponsor and we'll get back to it.
Stop wasting time trying to prove out animals or taking chances on possible hets or genes you don't know that are there. Head on over to Charlie at Gray Rider Reptiles and ShedTesting.com for all of your shed testing needs. He's fast, accurate, and adding new tests on a regular basis. So head on over to ShedTesting.com and check him out. Make sure to use the code CARPET15 for 15% off of your shed test order. Use nothing but the best at ShedTesting.com.
All right, let me run. Actually, you know what? No, we'll just stick with that one for now. We have two more to run here yet throughout the night. So the one thing I did want to bounce off you here, Riley, is some of the new classification stuff. Because, and I will be honest, I should do more research on this. So I need to add some due diligence on my end here for it. But for some of the people that are in the audience, because now, from what my limited understanding is, coastals are being kind of lumped in with like the jungle stuff, or the jungles are being slightly lumped in with the coastals, correct? So now some of your pairings, like, your jungle jags and stuff, that's not as frowned upon now due to the recent classification. Am I looking at that in the correct way, or?
Sort of. There's more to it than that. So a couple major things happened. Popwind carpets, Darwin carpets, and Cape York carpet pythons all up in the north end. They're all now reclassified as Morelia, Splota, Variegata. Darwins were always Variegata. Popwinds used to be Harrisoni. Cape Yorks were kind of like, what are these? So they've kind of done that. And then
and the Gelans got lumped in there with those as well, too, correct?
No, Gelatins are still Chaineye, I believe.
Because I know when I bought the female, Nick was rather blunt with me on it. He goes, just so you know, these are not gelatin jungles anymore. They're
it's
I forget. I'd have to go back to the email. But I was just kind of like, oh, damn, that was like real upfront here.
There's two populations of northern and southern coastals, as they call them. And the southern coastals are the true Morelia, Splota, McDowley. The ones up north are now considered Morelia, Splota, Cheney, whatever. And that's what jungles are. So the reason significant is because the gene flow between those two populations, there isn't any. So they're very different from one another. The southern coastals get a lot bigger. They have sort of a different color palette to them. And the northern coastals, that's kind of the majority of what's in the United States. So they're over in the wild populations, they are distinct. But here in the United States, what that means for us is because this information wasn't known, kept, maintained, or whatever 40, 50 years ago, what we have in the United States hobby, unless it's the actual preserved localities of Brisbane or, some of the actual like true coastal localities, unless it's those, what we have is sort of like this, what we now need to consider a third group, like these US based coastals that are like 95%, the northern coastal Chaineye and probably a little bit of southern coastal sprinkled in there, because we don't know if that is or isn't in there. And it's likely that a lot of that was mixed around. But it doesn't really change anything as far as, how the animals look, behave, or breed. That, jungle carpets live in a different biome, so phenotypically they look different, even though on a DNA level they're considered the same as our northern coastals. But the coastals live in a different environment, so phenotypically they look a little bit different in color and things like that. So they're still distinct visually. People still call them the same things, jungles and coastals. But yeah, as far as like a jungle jag project, it's not as like controversial because the siblings are still technically Morelia spilota chainii from a genetic standpoint, but that doesn't resolve the fact that you still have to represent that animal as a jungle coastal mix,
Yeah.
because you have two types coming together. Now, does that really change anything for the breeders? Not really. It doesn't change anything for me. I still keep my jungles, my coastals, my coastals, and I don't interbreed them. Um, I think people are just a lot more accepting of, people wanting to do cross projects, myself included. And then having that information comes out, it definitely kind of takes a little bit of the stigma away. So it's just a little bit of genetic reclassification that the Australians have been laughing at us about for not understanding for probably decades now. Yeah, they've always known southern coastals are different from northerns and they get a lot bigger. So it just took us a while to, publish it and actually make that a thing.
Okay. Julia says, "How or wants to know how heavy can a carpet get?" I've never weighed mine.
Yeah, I don't know if I've ever like actually bagged and weighed any of my bigger adults, but if I had to guess, I would say like, my big Brettles female is probably 7 pounds,
Okay.
something like that. Yeah, maybe a little bit more. Obviously, if you're getting into the upper reaches of like a really old, really large, coastal or jungle or something that's been fed heavily, you could push the scales probably to 10 pounds or so, but I would say on average, it's probably less than that. Probably more in the 4 to 6 pound range for an adult.
I think I know the one thing that to me always gets everybody is they see some of these longer lengths, like that guy there. He's close to 7 foot, if not kind of breaking that, hitting that 7 foot point. But people hear 7 foot and they think, like, I guess their mind goes to like, oh, like a retic thought, 7 foot, like and I don't
Hmm.
think people realize that these guys aren't heavily bodied pythons. Like you're, I mean, God, he's probably, I mean, Xander's about as thick as maybe a ball python is, Julia. Like they
Yeah.
don't get super thick bodied. Like they got to be able to still be up in trees and stuff. Because I would argue with some people that yes, they're semi-arboreal, but my guy, for the most part, mine are almost always perched. Like I don't know, there's not often that they're not perched somewhere. I mean, if they're
Yeah.
perched, or if they're not perched, they're probably in shed.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Yeah,
like
they
they got
they're
to
a
be able to
long,
be.
lean build for sure.
Yeah.
Definitely, they look like they have more mass to them, but they're not as big as the numbers would lead you to believe.
Greg, dude, what's up? Another one of our channel members. Good to see you, dude. Also, one of the people that has one of my, actually, two of my jungles now. Good to see you, bro. Good to see you. Julie said you used to have a Burmese. That's why I wondered. Yeah, no, definitely a totally different animal there on that one.
Yeah, like a 6 foot berm is 6, 7 foot berm is definitely going to be a little bit beefier. Spend a lot less time off the ground.
Yeah, yeah. Now, we've covered a whole bunch of stuff. Let's talk about what you've got. Tell us a little bit about what you've got cooking up over there for you this year, or for this coming year. Like, what are your projections, clutch wise? Some of the things you're excited about. Amp some of the people
Yeah,
up.
I've got 16 planned pairings of carpet pythons for this season. I'll be doing a repeat of the albino Darwins and the Brettles again. Um, 5 pairs of Papuan carpets that are all different wild types. There's one pair that's Exanic pairing that I'm doing for a third time. But otherwise, it's a lot of different. Uh, some of them are first time pairings. Some of them I'm doing for like a second time. But it's a lot of different looks in those groups. Lots of different like oranges or stripes, dark colors. I'm obsessed with those guys, so I'll be doing a lot of those.
Well,
And
the
then,
oranges with your poplin stuff, dude, is freaking. that's just phenomenal, hands down, freaking phenomenal. It makes me. Like, here's what I run into. I see the stuff you're working with. I see like stuff that so many other breeders are working with, and it makes me just want to jump on. Like, it makes me just want to like basically treat them like Pokemon. Like, have one pair of everything, and it like. I just don't have the space to do it. So it's like hard to not like want to get on the train with like the poplins and everything else.
Yeah, I know. I have that all of them. Yeah, it's just I've slowed down in that pace a bit, but for a while I was like, oh, I need all of these, and I was grabbing everything left and right. Um, I'll be doing a couple coastal pairings. Gonna try and prove out my possible super hypo tiger male this year. Find out if he's a super or not. Got an exanic tiger male that I've been raising up. Gonna pair him up to a couple females this year. See if he's ready to tackle two at his first go. Gonna do some more citrus tiger stuff with a new male that I haven't bred. Make some more albino citrus tigers and the like. What else? What else? More jungles.
So you've got some beautiful jungle stuff lined up.
Yeah, I've got a lot of them. I'm gonna breed the MIA jungle pairing. I'm gonna breed my sort of like my main big beautiful female that I bred last season. Gonna breed the striped ocelot type girls again this year, and my super zebra female. Gonna breed her again. I'm just like, yeah, I'm going after it, dude. It's just the last 2 years, I've sort of like, I wouldn't say I paced myself. I paced myself last year a little bit, but the year before I went big, and I wish I'd just kept going big. I need more animals to sell and provide to people. It's just like I can't produce enough for the demand, it seems. I'm gonna try and pair my womas for the first time this year. They're old enough and big enough, and I've been slamming them full of large rats and getting them cycled. So 'tis the season for that.
No, are womas difficult to breed? Because a buddy of mine, well, channel sponsors as well, John and Christine over there at Triforce, they had, I forget if they had a pair or if it was a trio they had at a show for sale. And like, it was tempting to not try to get them.
I would say,
but I decided not to. But it always seemed like they're a little bit on the trickier side, maybe to breed.
It's not the active breeding that's the challenge, it's the eggs that are the tricky part.
Okay.
And then the fact that they can be sneaky little finger biters.
They did say that about one or two of them.
Yeah, that's the thing with womas. There's only two types of womas. There's the types that are going to bite you, and there's the types that won't. And there's not really much in between. And the types that'll bite you, they're not going to tell you right away that they're going to bite you. They're just going to do it when they feel like it usually. And so that's, kind of a little asterisk with the species. But as far as breeding goes, no, they're not hard to breed. They'll copulate readily, and you can get eggs out of females. Keep them warm, keep them fed, breed them. But it's the eggs. The eggs do not tolerate moisture well at all. No contact with moisture whatsoever. They tank horribly. You got to really make sure their environment for the eggs has humidity, but they can't be touching it. Their eggs are a little bit more sensitive. So that's kind of the other thing with them. Otherwise, they're great snakes, man. They're so much fun. But yeah, they'll chomp you a little bit.
It's so freaking. It's the pattern. Like, I think it's that stripe, but it's like blurred. Like it's just something about the pattern that drives me nuts with them.
There's some stuff out there that you haven't seen too that I think over the next few years people are going to really push out some stuff. There's some melanistic projects in Australia. There's different flavors of like borderline hypo looking stuff here where it's so light in color. It's like yellow. There's stuff with really high contrast with lots of browns and dorsal striping. We've got a project at the shop where we have a female who her markings are orange and it's like a reduced pattern. She's got her dorsal stripe that's speckled, but then she doesn't have bands. She just got like these floating little dashes down the side. It looks like half of her pattern's gone. And
Oh, dude, that'd be
we
badass.
produced one baby from her that looked like that a couple of years ago. That's a male, and so he's back breeding over her this year. And so we're gonna figure out what's up with that. Um, but yeah, those are, that's like a python lover species, because you got to love them for what they are, because they're going to bite you a little bit, and maybe you might not be handling them and loving on them like you would other snakes all the time, but
Yeah.
damn it if they don't look pretty, you know what I mean? um and it's pretty cool to actually give them some like particulate substrate in the chips and watch them like shovel and nose around and dig around and stuff like that. So they're cool. I really enjoy them. So yeah, we've bred them a few times at the shop, so I know what I'm doing, but this will be my pair here at home. Um, I'm gonna try the Apodora pair that was trying last year, and
Okay.
if if I work up the moxie, I might try pairing my male to a second female as well. But she's a lot bigger, so I don't know if I'm ready for that yet. We'll see. Ryan, you
Now,
look like
I'm
do it.
gonna
Why not?
assume that there's probably because I don't know much about Apodora. I'm assuming that there's probably a chance of male gets eaten.
Yeah, yeah. It's a very documented reality. And in fact, last year, one of the times I was pairing was too early, and it happened to be a day I was here, fortunately, and I caught the female grabbing the male by the head and wrapping him up at 7:30 in the morning. So,
Oh man.
yeah. So it does happen. It does happen. But the nice thing is, if you know you have a sexed pair, it all comes down to timing. And Ryan's a great person to have coached me. Don't go badgering the shit out of him, please. But if you feed them really, really heavy in the winter, and you're feeding them every 7 to 10 days, and just getting those girls hit their appetite itch, they're savage. They will take big meals, small meals, frequent, doesn't matter. Just keep them fed, and then start paying attention to your male. When you start seeing him kind of losing some interest in food and he's doing a lot of glass surfing and he's really active, wait a little bit more and then do a little intro. And I've also talked to a few other people that have tried breeding them and have given me some pointers. Um, Another thing you can do is like introduce when the female's in shed, because then she's not going to interact with the feed response, and you definitely don't want to walk away when you pair them. But yeah, once I started seeing that the male wasn't interested in food, the female was okay with the male going in, and that he would like beeline it straight to her, and they were cuddling under hides all the time. Then I was like, cool, I have no problem leaving you together for a few days. I saw them lock up plenty of times. I palpated follicles in the female, but I'm not the first person who's gotten that far and then got nothing. That's actually quite common, and that's the
Okay.
challenge with them outside of cannibalization is getting a female to ovulate. So we'll see. We'll see what we can do.
Now, are you? Because I think you still have them. You still have those badass little, like the God. What were they? They were the geckos.
Oh yeah, the
The
golden
gold tails,
tail.
I think they're called, or something like that.
Yep.
Are you
Yep.
breeding those
Yeah,
as
I'm
well and selling
hoping
them, or?
to. So I have three unrelated females that are now just over 3 years old, and I have seen them laying infertile eggs in the enclosure. I had a male that I was raising up, and he randomly died last summer, right before I was going to
That
introduce
part.
him to the group. So that was a big blow and a setback. And then I was able to find an adult male from a shop in another state. I'm blanking right now. And so I brought him in, got him acclimated for a few weeks, and then put him in with the group, even though it's not season, and I just want him living in this enclosure with them and being comfortable with the routine. And for a few weeks, he was definitely a little intimidated and hiding from them and being up on the glass away from them all the time. And now I'm seeing him integrating with them and hunting a lot. And, you know, he's a little bit skinnier, but I have to remember he's a male, and so that's okay. And, but yeah, I'm hoping that those will give me some eggs next year. I've introduced a little sandy nest box cup for them, and I've been tinkering with that and asking a few other people, you know, their experience with it. So I'm hopeful that next year I'll be able to have some out, because I love those geckos, man. You can literally sit and pick them up and they'll sit on your finger. They don't freak out. They don't run off. They're not trying to drop their tails or bite you or anything. Like they're chill. They're really chill. And they just happen to be freaking beautiful. So yeah.
Well, the only time I've ever seen them was on your channel, and when you were showing them off, I'm just like, those are amazing.
I mean,
it literally made it. It's like, okay, if I get a lizard at any point, I'm gonna have to get one of those, just because like they're cool looking. Like they're just cool.
They're awesome. Red eyes, white and gray body with black spots all over, and then a golden stripe down the tail with white outline and little spikes on it. I mean, they're just they're cool.
And everybody in the chat's now thinking, oh, that's exactly why Jeremy wants it, is because of the black and white color scheme. Yes, folks, that is partially what stood out to me, was that black and white. Tara says that.
Like a cookies and cream Oreo crumble sort of look to it.
Dude, they are so freaking cool. Like, they stand out amongst all the other geckos, in my opinion, because they don't get big either, do they? I mean, they like what, maybe 3 inches?
About 4 inches tip to tail, maybe 5 for a really long female, but it's like, yeah, they're not big at all. And I've got 1.3 living in an Exoterra that's 18 by 18 by 24, and I scaped the walls with foam and grouted it and everything like that. So it's like rock surface and then sand basin with fake branches and sticks everywhere, UVB and a basking light overhead, and they're good to go, man. They're cool.
And now, what do you feed those? I'm assuming okay. I was gonna say, I don't think that they're ones that would eat the Pangea or whatever it is, but
probably not. They really love hunting, man. They're so much fun. They lights out, you throw some crickets in there and they're just like blah, blah, just darting everywhere, killing stuff, man. They're just savage. You could probably get them to eat, like, you know, roaches and mealworms in a glass dish if you put it down there, because they move around enough. They probably go for that, but I just do a lot of dusted crickets and they go nuts for them. Okay.
Let me run the last 2 channel sponsors here quick, Riley, and we'll go for a little bit longer here, but I don't want to keep you too long because cool, I'm sure you're freaking hungry.
It's all good, dude. I love talking reptiles. You know me.
I know, but I still feel bad. So I'll run these 2 and we'll keep this show going for a little bit longer, folks. So hang tight.
Are you ready to take it to the next level? Then check out DTMG Pythons. Danny is best known for his awesome clown ball python projects. This year's focus is Confusion, Hurricane, and Disco Inferno clowns. He also specializes in high-end crested gecko morphs such as Exantic, Lily White, and Exantic Lily Whites, along with the Deadpool line of gargoyle geckos. Check out his morph market and Instagram, DTMG Pythons. Just buy it. Lucas Landon Royals produces some truly high-caliber snakes. Kai has been breeding ball pythons for 6 seasons and counting. He's working toward multi-recessive combos such as DG Clown, Hypo Clown Pied, Sunset Candy Pied, and DG Exantic Pied. He's working with several other species of snakes, but next year he's going to start breeding Boa Imperators, and he also has a small group of super dwarf retics. So be on the lookout for some super dwarf cow retics. Become a royal at Lucas Landon Royals.
Make sure everybody go check those guys out. Greatly appreciate their love and support. I'm looking forward to the snake that I got from Danny's sponsor auction last week. I will be getting that out at Gettysburg. So super excited to be adding that one to the team. Didn't really need it, but hey, who's going to turn down a clown pod, right? I mean, come on now. I can do some work. I can use him for a season. After a season, I'm kind of done with him, but we'll move him on to someone else that can use him after that. Definitely not like how carpets are, folks. Definitely not like I think that's the one thing I do love about the carpet community and just working with them. They're not a use them for a season or two and move them on. It's a get them, breed them, make the babies, raise them up, and they kind of like you hold on to them. Like there's not really a turnaround rate in my way of thinking with it. You kind of just, love them.
And it takes a little bit longer to get females up to size. So, if your approach is to replace the breeder female with her offspring, that's the next best thing. It's going to take you 5 years oftentimes. So,
yeah,
during those 5 years, you can repeat that pairing 2-3 more times. And then by the time the other one's breeding, you'll probably have something else growing up that you want to breed anyway. So you just move a different male in with her, and it's just one of those things. Like, yeah, you don't really see people selling adults as often. It happens. I've started getting to the point where I am moving on a few adults here and there every year to friends or whomever. The male tiger head exanic that bred for me so many times is a stud breeder, super reliable. I just sent him out and one of the proven females to a friend because I've got the visual tiger head exanic male and females growing up and then some, and just unless you have unlimited resources and space you kind of got to make some decisions eventually. But the nice thing is if you have a well-maintained and clean collection and you have people you trust, you can usually form good relationships and find people who will take an adult pair from you under whatever arrangement you want, and you'll feel good about it, and you won't necessarily miss them as bad as if you just sold them off to somebody. So there's a lot of that happens.
I think that's the one thing too that has eased me with selling the babies off, is because a lot of the babies have stayed. They've gone to friends, supporters of the channel members. Like, I still get updates on them regularly. If I could speak properly. Like Kike here for Bosa Reptiles, I mean, he's constantly putting pictures up of the one that he got from me for my first breeding season. I still think to this day I sent him the wrong freaking snake, because there's no way I should have left that animal go. But one, knowing that he enjoys it so much makes it all worth it. But then just getting those updated pictures, it's just like, I made that. Like that came from here. Like it, I don't know, it's a good feeling. I love it.
I agree. It's a great feeling. It's very humbling.
It is. Yeah. See, Kiko, good to see you. Good to see you, man.
Nice.
But yeah, now you had said that you wouldn't have slowed down, or that you shouldn't have slowed down with your pairings and stuff.
Yeah.
Are you seeing that the Morelia market isn't being hit as hard, maybe, as far as economically as like the ball python market has, because there's not so many of us breeding them? Do you think that's made, like, everybody's looking for that new, I would say they're looking for that new next thing, but they're wanting to expand out to other species, and carpets kind of jump out? Or what's your thoughts on that?
I mean, I think it'd be foolish to say that our market wasn't impacted economically at all, but I don't think it's taken as big a hit. The carpet python community has found a natural process for the way new morphs or new mutations or rare things kind of rise and settle into a nice happy market value, and it usually starts in a couple $1,000s for like new morphs. You don't see anything over like $4,000 usually. Um, and then a lot of things tend to settle in the $400 or $500 range, $600 range for more, whatever it is. Diamonds being an exception,
Yeah.
recessive morphs being an exception. Um, and that's just because it's just the way it's gone, and it just kind of fits that way. And if you go look on Morph Market, there's never more than like 300 or so available at any one time, and it's oftentimes as low as under 200. So, whatever demand that's been growing because of people, like you said, branching out, looking for new stuff and trying to find something different, the demand just is nowhere near, or the supply is nowhere near the demand. So that's been in our favor. But yeah, I mean, there's so many people keeping snakes right now, dude. There's millions and millions and millions of people in California and the United States just keeping snakes. And so that's growing. People's attention and audiences and reach and connection to a lot of these other species is growing. I don't know. I don't have any problem selling snakes, dude. I have one Bredli baby available and from the clutch, and I didn't list any of them anywhere.
I said, if I remember correctly, you also didn't even allow yourself to have any holdbacks either from that, did you? Because you had people beating on your door.
Yeah, I sold my holdback albino Darwin that I was going to keep too. I didn't keep anything from that. Dude, I'm telling you, I can't keep these things. Now, I think certain ones don't fly as fast as others because they're not as flashy, like Papuans and younger jungles that haven't like aged into something spectacular, or coastals maybe take their time and people got to see them in person to really appreciate them. But yeah, last year, I could have done, I think it was like a dozen pairs, and I think I only did like seven or eight.
Okay.
I just specifically kept a few females on maintenance feed and was like, nah, just whatever. I was worried that I wasn't going to be able to move snakes, and I only have 5 babies from last year. And the year before I produced even more, and I'm doing more shows now. I'm doing Pomona regularly twice a year, and Sacramento. I just, I feel like I need to produce more animals to fit what my goals are. So yeah, I would have to say that although I do think every aspect of the reptile market has felt some sort of this economic pinch, carpets are doing just fine.
That's how I've experienced it too, is that, ball python prices have gotten ridiculously stupid at some ends of the spectrum as far as how low some of the stuff has dropped.
Mm-hmm.
But the carpets have stayed steady. And on average, I move about 1 carpet a show, which I consider that, I had 20, I released 22 babies. I'm down to 3, and think I didn't start releasing till July or August or something like that. So, there was that huge hit, that huge wave in the beginning, but then after that, it's been just like a nice little trickle. But I haven't put anything. I had put 2 or 3 up on Morph Market, and I had 6 at that time. Those 3 have since been bought and picked off real quick off of Morph Market, and I've got those 3, and I've been I refused. And this might not have been the best business move aspect wise, but I don't care. But I enjoy having them around. I enjoy having them as a conversation piece at the shows. I've got carpets on my banners and my tablecloth, so I feel as though I've got to have the carpets represented one way, shape, or form on the table.
Absolutely.
So it's like, I'm not going to put those on Morph Market. Now, after this next show this weekend, guys, out at Gettysburg Reptile Expo, LLC, after that show, I will put them up on Morph Market, just preparing, because like I said earlier, I've got for sure I'm going for 2 clutches here. And then Xander there is going over to my buddy Nathan's place. So there's a split clutch coming from that one. So I'm preparing for all of those because that's going to be a good bit of babies, I think, out of, let's see, Lagatha did, God, what did she throw? I'm drawing a blank on how many eggs she gave me now. I'd have to look at the records. Anyway, I think total between the two is 27 good eggs and babies. But the one female, she gave me like 3 or 4 slugs. And so either way, I mean, I'm looking at probably, I'm going to guess and say about 20 eggs per clutch this year would be my guess if I had to just kind of estimate. So there's 40 babies just in 2 females, and then whatever Nathan's girl throws, which she's got some decent size, and Xander knows what he's doing by now because he's been the head runner for 2 years now. So
nice.
There's gonna be a lot of babies. There's gonna be a lot of babies, and I'm afraid of what I'm gonna be holding back from next year.
Yeah, it happens, man. It grows every year. You know, there's just something new. You can do the same pairing every time, and you'll get something different each time. I paired the same zebras 3 times and got different results every time.
Okay.
And I've gotten stripes, no stripes, aberrant stuff, you name it. And so I just, you know, my mentality is keep them because you can at least sell them later if you change your mind. You can't just always buy them back.
That is true, yes.
And yeah, you never know really what can happen. But if something pops up that you weren't expecting, then you got to be prepared to keep that too. So, like, I'm keeping 13 out of 17 jungles that I produced last season. So, yeah,
no, what was that? I'm trying
jungles.
to. I said that was just jungle. I was just saying, what was that like? What was the pairing on that one? I'm trying to think if I remember.
It was actually two small clutches because last year I had a lot of slugs across the board, and I blame El Nino for that. It was an El Nino winter, so last year was slug Nino, and one clutch was 10 eggs. One clutch ended up with 7. The one with 7, I think I'm just keeping all of those, or 6 of them. Anyway, but they are all 2019 animals that I produced and held back from pairing an ivory Van de Venter striped male to a psychotic exotics female that I had. It was like my first real nice high-end jungle that I ever bought. And she produced a lot of good stripes, and so I kept a trio. And then those finally were up to speed. So I bred the male that I kept to both females. And I got a lot of unexpected results. I got less striping than I was aiming for and thinking, and got a lot of crazy, funky ocelot stuff.
Okay.
In a lot of them. And looking at the parents now in hindsight and looking at their markings, like, it makes sense, but it's been like magnified a lot more in some of them, like really, really dramatic. And so now I'm like, well, crap, I got to keep these and see what's going on here, raise these up, you know, see what's going on with this expression, if that's heritable. So yeah, a new project sort of formed in that whole thing. You know, if it was just simple, like, better striping, I'd just keep, you know, a pair of the best stripes from each and call it a day.
Yeah.
But here we are. So I got to run with it and see.
That's kind of like me with the aberrant, massively tipped out animals. Like, I normally get like 1 or 2 of them per year. And of course, like, that pad, like, just how crazy they look, it drives me nuts. It's like, all right, I've got to keep that back. Like, it just,
yeah,
I don't know. Like, you don't see much of it out there because a lot of people either want to have just striped or they've got the nice banding. They don't have the whacked out pattern stuff.
Yeah, people usually are going for cleanliness and uniformity in whatever phenotype, whether it be striping or banding. But yeah, I think it's cool, man. I think tipping is pretty awesome. There's my male that uh, I have from Owen is really, really banded, really, really tipped out, and his babies, they're just epic. They come out the same, and they're amazing. So I think it's a pretty cool. I think it's a pretty cool, angle to go for when you see so much of the highly selectively bred and cleaned up, revised, clean blacks and yellows, which no
Yes.
slouch to that either. But it's like, why not have
It's
all
something
of the
new.
flavors around?
Well, exactly. Why just have chocolate or vanilla? Go for the peanut butter ripple or whatever. Like something good.
Yeah, yeah. People want little different things between everyone. So if you can offer differences, that more the merrier.
Now, the last thing I want to touch base on here, and this, I'm hoping it maybe like to me, it was a good topic to get into. Um, but as far as morphs go and morphs popping up, like, is there stuff that you know of that has been popping up in anybody's collection, or because I mean, obviously we can't get Australia they're the lucky SOBs out of the whole group because they've got it seems like all the cool shit that's been popping up and being made, like it's all over there, and obviously we can't get it.
Yeah.
But have you seen anything really cool being popped up, produced over here that could be genetic maybe or something for anybody looking to get into carpets to be on the lookout for in the future?
Oh, it's tough, because we have such a closed gene pool on everything but the poplar carpets, and the import on those is small in quantity, and I'm trying to buy all of them anyway. So
you got to go to Riley, everybody, for pop ones anyway.
yeah, anything that comes through Dan, Lucas, and I try to just buy the entire group from him, which we've done, and we'll probably continue to do. I hold very high hopes for a lot of selective line breeding and different phenotypes out of that, but I think there's this little inner kid in me that wants something to pop out of some of that. 8 or 9, maybe 10 years ago, I remember in some of the SoCal circles I was hanging out with, there was it was like a weird albino or hypo thing that was popping out of some weird het granite stuff and some popwin circles that wasn't thriving. And so that was kind of a weird mystery. And Eric Kohler's really doing some good stuff with the Tiger IJ line. He's been, consistently producing gorgeously clean colored and striped animals, but now he's making them so dang bright that they almost look hypo themselves. So he's got that
I think
he's
Eric's
he's
even
line
local
breeding.
to me then too.
Yeah, man, that Tiger IJ line is pretty cool. And then Eric Burke's Poison Ivy stuff. He's gonna hopefully take some more steps with some of those breedings this season to get more insight, offspring, and understanding on what's going on with that. Because that to me is the most likely melanistic project that I am aware of here in the States.
Okay.
Definitely like a full black poplin carpet. So,
Ooh, dude, I
yeah.
don't even know if I've seen pictures of that girl, and I've never been privileged enough to make it over to Eric's to be able to get a room tour when he does take people into the room, but I don't know if I've ever seen pictures of that one.
You'll have to ask him for photos or go to his website or something. I'm sure he's got them listed, but she passed away unfortunately a while back, and he was able to breed her though to an unrelated popwin carpet, and then he kept a bunch of those, if not all those babies, and I think he even bred her twice. But so he's got a lot of that stuff still.
Okay.
He hasn't been releasing it though, but yeah, I think his melanistic project has the most potential in that regard. So
Okay.
but otherwise, man, like unless there's something sleeping in somebody's collection that they're working quietly and diligently on, to do all the test breeding and stuff. I'm not really aware of a lot of new stuff coming in or new
New stuff
developments in that
popping up.
regard. Yeah, nothing at the moment anyway, but you never know how those black holes from Europe uh, come and go.
Well, no, I was so hoping because I was in the talks with Nick there when I got the gelatin from him, and he did a teaser of his incubator. And of course, you got to pause it on the short on what was it? I guess it was an IG short, maybe.
Hmm.
Anyway, paused it. I'm there, zoomed in, looking at what all the tags said, and I saw a thing that said Ivory's on there. And of course, boom! I shot him a message. I was like, dude, when they hatch, if you release any, I need one. Like, I just need it. And his response was, when they hatch, I'll let you know. But obviously, I get I know how that whole thing goes. And they hatch, and I know he's teased a few pictures of some of the stuff, and it's just like, oh my god! It's like, please just message me back.
Yeah.
I don't want to bother him though. At the same time, but it's just like that sits like in the back of my head. Like, maybe if I shoot that one more message, maybe that'll be what get like.
Yeah.
Because he told me, he goes, they're not going to be cheap. It's like, trust me, I didn't expect them to be cheap. I was like,
Yeah.
I just need the number, man. I need the number.
Yeah, the other thing is he doesn't produce a lot of them every year. He only produces like a clutch, maybe two. So yeah, the supply is limited for sure.
Yes. And I'm sure that list to get them there's a lot more people in front of me on that list.
Yeah, I don't even ask. I was like, I'll one day when it aligns, I'll get there. I know Nick, he knows me. We can figure something out if we get there, but it's just there's so many snakes, so little time, right?
That is yeah. I know like the gelatin stuff's got me excited because I know
those are cool.
You and Eric and Owen both have told me that basically it's like the Exantic version without being Exantic. And that girl that I have, dude, freaking spot on.
Yeah.
100% looks
cool,
better than any Exantic ball python that I own. Like, she's just so drop dead gorgeous.
Yeah, those are good snakes. I still don't have them. I need to add those one day, but I keep making too many holdbacks, and I just keep filling up all my space with my own animals.
Well, see, but you're kind of like you're cutting that piece of pie out for yourself with the pop one stuff, though. Like, I feel like you've got a good section of the pie on the other stuff, but for me personally, watching the videos, the pop ones is where it's at for you. Like, I pick up a little bit more passion being driven behind the pop ones, than the other stuff.
Yeah, it's uncharted territory. Basically, everything, the way I see it, everything that I'm doing with those hasn't been done before. All these pairings, all these new lines, all these, combinations of wild caught and well-established lines, farm hatched and wild caught, and then taking those into second generations, and then taking those further. I mean, like, that's all brand new. It's like walking into a rainforest that human eyes have never set sight on. It's pretty amazing. I can't get enough of it, and I'm not doing it to, like, maybe one day I'll pop something out. Like, well, we were talking about morphs and stuff earlier. It's just there's so many different looks to them, and I keep being constantly blown away by them, because they'll change colors too. The same snake, you'll open their enclosure one day and then look at them one evening. It could be the same day, and they don't even look the same. They look like a completely different snake. We can get new ones from straight off the ground in Papua New Guinea. I mean, like, you can get wild caught Papuan carpets and farm hatched, and it's just like, how has this been a thing and nobody's capitalized on it until lately? And to me, it's such a blessing that is right in front of us that most people don't realize, and it'll be gone at some point, and then everyone will be saying shoulda, woulda, coulda,
Yeah.
and I'll be sitting there on my mountain of poplin carpets being like, "Come to daddy."
Like, I think that the color palette, from what I see with what you have, you're dealing with colors that the others don't, that the other subspecies, localities, however you want to look at it, don't have. Like those oranges, like they're bright orange to my eyes,
Yeah.
anyway.
Yeah, and then that'll be right next to like a really thick, inky black section. And
Yep.
then on the other side of that will be like a bright buckskin, like tan markings, you know? And
Yep.
yeah, dude, it's just uh if you gotta see them to and see lots of them. If people are listening to this and like, this guy's crazy, he loves his brown snakes, like you're damn right I do, man. But you know what? Like oranges and yellows laced in with like slate grays and speckling and then some just crazy black edging on stuff. I've even got some holdbacks from one of my earlier pairings that I did like 4 years ago. Unfortunately, the female passed away.
Oh man, sorry.
Dude, I had a bad couple of years where 3 years consistently I lost a female each season to some sort of health or breeding related incident. And two of them were breeder popwind carpets. One was that matriarch jungle.
I vaguely remember the pop ones. The jungle, I really remember because I felt that for you because you
Yeah,
could tell
that's
that just really hit.
yeah, that was like hands down my favorite animal too. So, but yeah, they can do a lot, man. There's a lot of untapped potential, a lot of cool colors. But yeah, I've got some jungle or some pop ones that, like at night in particular, when I check on them, they almost look like jungles. They'll go black with like bright yellow on them.
Oh,
Yeah, so they change. They fire up and down. They like, I don't know how to explain it. It's kind of like crested geckos, but it's not as like instantaneous. It's like you can check on the same animal night and day, and
wonder
they
how
just
they.
change.
I wonder how they do that though. Like that's the one thing that's kind of baffled me because I know when I had a blood python years ago, it would like fire up and down its head. Like one day the head would be black, and then the next day it would be like chrome. It's just kind of like,
Yeah.
whoa, what the hell? But
Yeah,
I never
I
understood
understand that.
how in the hell they did it.
I don't know, man, but it's freaking beautiful, and I'm here for it. You know what I mean? I think it's cool. Um, yeah, there's just so much to enjoy about them, and then you can. Yeah, I don't know. I'm sounding like a broken. You can line breed and create your own look. I mean, like
Yep.
you can get two wild caught animals, breed them, make F1s, take those, breed your holdbacks, make F2s, and now you're starting a line of your own poplin carpets from wild caught animals, and you know exactly where they came from. Like there is no mistaking anything. It's it's the most satisfying thing for me from just like being able to understand it, because I think about what that means for the future, think about what
Yeah.
that means for people who are going to want them in the future. If I'm able to preserve these lines and this grouping of animals and keep it going, that means people in the future will be able to get those. And
Well,
that to me is really exciting.
just like the stuff you're producing with Redman and stuff. I mean, like I said earlier in the show, I mean, he's freaking drop dead gorgeous.
Yeah,
Like
he's bonkers.
if anything is a mascot for Popwoods, it is that animal right there. Like that is what would hook anybody to want to get one.
Yeah, he makes good stuff. He's kept his good color too, which is the challenge, because a lot of them, they look great, and then one or two sheds in, that black and the brown starts coming in, and then you can't really tell how they're gonna go and how they're gonna age. you can kind of get an idea from their parents, but like there's always those ones that just kind of go left field and they don't change, or like they'll hit two and they just turn a different color, and you're just like, you guys, you got to give me the roadmap before. Like I wasn't expecting. Yeah,
Yep.
he's just stayed real bright, real orange. The colors stayed very rich. And he did everything looks darker this time of year because the breeders they just get a little bit darker. But man, in the middle of summer, he's he's amazing. He's gorgeous. I don't know if I'll be able to produce a male better than him, but I'm gonna try.
Well, I know with that one female you were showing off that I got to on the list there, which I think she's going to him. She was basically his caliber of coloration, if I'm remembering correctly. So I mean
She looks better than him when she's not in her like dark breeding stage too.
Okay.
She's phenomenal. Yeah, both females that I have him lined up for this season they're looking their best in the right time of year, right after a shed. They're hard to compete with.
Now with you getting them wild caught farm hatched, have you experienced like any issues as far as like illnesses, like just any of those import issues, like the terrors that you hear about sometimes with like green trees and stuff like that? Like, have there been issues with any of that stuff? Or okay,
yeah, very very little, very few. Fortunately, I tend to only buy my import stuff through Dan Mallory, and he does a great job of, sourcing things well and then taking care of them when they get to him. I recently dealt with some mites on some imports.
Oh, okay.
And you do what you got to do: quarantine, isolate, treat, prevent a mite, Taurus mites, whatever. I do all of the above, and then haven't really dealt too much with other parasites, but I have experienced some blister disease in some Papuans that they just really want to soak a lot.
Okay.
And yeah, if they're allowed to soak too much, some of them they'll get blisters if it can get into their bloodstream. They can get a little bit of infection, and then if it goes bad fast, they can get septic and die. So I've experienced that once. But no, otherwise, nothing really jumps out. You hear horror stories, but I think that often comes down to who the importer is and what their process is along the way.
True.
Because animals experience whatever they experience in the wild, but like you can make things way worse by roughing them up, stressing them out, holding them in a facility without water for too long, whatever it ends up being that they have to endure along the way. And by the time they get to you, they've had 3 weeks of hell potentially. So
True.
it pays to be choosy with who you're buying from. And I think that can be said about anything, but especially with imports.
See, I think the thing to take away with the Papuan stuff is that like you mentioned it before too, is you can get the fresh blood. We're not recycling the same thing over and over, and everything's probably related to everything by now.
Mm-hmm.
You're able to get that fresh blood in. You're able to get if something new pops up, you're able to get it in. Like you say, you can blaze those trails. That's a cool path to go on, I think, in my opinion. Getting to blaze that trail and kind of go your way with it, and it be your line or your lineage. That's cool.
Yeah, it's very satisfying for me, and not everyone will place value on that, and that's fine. I just those are some of the things that I've grown to love about keeping snakes, is knowing their story, knowing where they came from. Knowing their family tree as much as possible, because you can see the influence in a lot of that, and you can see how similar they look and where they get certain looks. And the more the better understanding you have. So I don't know, I just like it, and I think it's a cool thing that people like Nick and folks have sort of made a norm for us in this area to do so.
Yeah. No, I agree with you. All right, dude. Well, it is 10:15 on this end. I've got work in the morning. I've been trying to keep everything about 2 hours. We're at 2:15, so I think we did pretty damn good tonight. And in all honesty, you popped up earlier than what I expected you to pop up. So, even better, even better.
I close up shop right on time, man. I don't lollygag. I don't waste time.
Dude,
I got no time to waste.
I feel you on that one, man. I feel you on that one. Hang out with me 1 second. Don't run off. Everybody, this week's video, I have gotten some requests to go over the Orbeez method of incubation. So I think I'm going to go and do the video going over how to use Orbeez to incubate your eggs. Nathan, I know if you're still watching, bro, you're probably yelling, you don't need Orbeez, you idiot. But it is a damn good placebo. I will tell you that much right now, everybody. But so I'm gonna make the video on how to use the Orbeez as an incubation method. Full season on it, 100 other than 2 eggs that I had a feeling were going to go bad off the rip, it was 100% hatch rate on everything with it. So feel confident making the video on it at this point. Dude, it's like the one it's literally like the cleanest way other than just using water to incubate eggs. Like you don't have the perlite or the vermiculite mess, like none of that.
That's awesome.
And
it's colorful.
It is. Like I mean, I didn't go super colorful. I went with green. I felt like I had to go with green. I was stuck with it. I had to, but
it fit. I thought it was a good choice.
I mean, I know some people would say once you use them, throw them out. I didn't notice any junk or anything on them, so I just kind of kept just been using the same set of Orbeez.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not one to waste stuff. So
yeah, why not? Yeah.
Well, exactly. I mean, I know they're not expensive, but anyway. So that's going to be this week's video, folks. I do have to film it yet because that was the other thing that was on my list of to do today, and it just didn't get done.
That's how editing and filming goes.
Oh, dude, I like being more. I don't want to put it. I like having more of a buffer than what I've been giving myself. And I just need to I need a 1 week of vacation just to give myself that buffer. I've got the ideas. It's just me coordinating the time to do it.
I know.
That's been my issue.
I'm never good at that. I told myself I was going to do it. And once I did actually at one point have 3 or 4 videos backlog, and I was like, cool. I'm on my game. I'll be able to stay ahead. Nope, did not last. I did not film anything until it was too late, and now I literally film my content the week of, for the most part, unless something novel happens, and then I can sort of plan ahead, maybe a week. But I often find myself, especially during the time of year where I'm feeding everything to prep for breeding season, just putting everything to last minute and running around doing everything late and just filming late. But this week's video coming out is already filmed. I just have to edit it. So.
Dude, I'm anxious to watch it. Which
that's what it's gonna be.
What's that?
It's not gonna be carpet python related because we went over all the pairings. This one's gonna be a complete left turn.
Ooh.
Yeah. Since we're getting out of here, we'll leave it on a little teaser note for your audience. But yeah, I've stepped into the venomous realm. So.
Ooh.
Yep.
Well, did you make a video announcing any of that before? Because if so, I must have missed it. I thought I've been on track with.
No, okay, so I've been. The only thing I've done is I've thrown a little teasers in my Instagram story and some. But you know how people are when they're flipping through it. You're not necessarily listening, and so if you're not paying attention and you're not listening, you have no idea what I brought into my room. But
I was gonna say because I'm really bad about watching the stories because a lot of times I don't watch stories.
That's why I had no problem, putting little things in there. It's like, oh, I'll just throw this little clip in there. I'll say good morning to this guy here. Or what's that noise? Oh, what's that? Oh, I don't know.
Dude, I'm
But
excited now, man. I'm gonna down. I mean, I always try to make sure I watch the weekly videos. Now I've really got to make sure that I don't miss this one because I'm excited to see what you got.
it will be not like other venomous videos in the best way possible.
Okay.
So, and it might even be boring.
Well, you know what though? I don't think you've put a boring video out yet. So I can't. I've seen boring videos. Your videos don't come to boring, bro. Like they just don't.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. And I hope it's not boring. I hope it's informational and people enjoy it. But I intend for it to be the opposite of sensational, I guess is a better way to put it.
Well, see that I think a lot of times people get hung up on the sensational stuff and they forget responsibility.
And that's exactly why this is happening. And it wasn't planned. The stars aligned. The universe said there's a bunch of free handlers getting bit. There's good people that don't deserve to pass that have passed, and people that maybe aren't the nicest members of the community that are being a little foolish, that are kind of getting second chance. It's a very hot button issue right now. And
yes,
this sort of scenario fell in my lap, and I thought, you know what, I'm gonna throw my hat in the ring and just at least put out, if I only put out one piece of content on it, it will at least be non-sensationalized, very rudimentary, professional, safe handling, protocol based stuff. So
good. I'm anxious to watch it, dude. I am. Coming from someone that I always enjoy looking at the venomous stuff, but I know my limits. I know my limits, and it's like, you know what? It's not my cup of tea. I love looking at them, though. By God, do I love looking at them.
Oh, I'm right there with you, man. I've worked them in zoos. I've trained other people. I've managed a venomous program and training people, and I can do this quite safely. There's no reason to make it anything more than it is, but I didn't think I would be doing it, that's for sure. But here we are, so might as well make the most out of it and try and find a way to give back to the community with it in some way.
That's freaking awesome, man. And everybody, all of Riley's links are in the description down below for the YouTube channel, his website. Go check it out. Check out his Patreon as well, which is something that I need to one of these days dabble into a little bit, is jump into your Patreon, dude. So yeah, go check out all of Riley's stuff, everybody. Show him some love. Yeah. And next week's guest, I have to look this up. Next week's guest, I think. I don't have a next week's guest because I put in about Monster Mania, so I think I didn't know how long I was going to be out at Monster Mania Con, so I think I have it as a solo. I think. Oh, that's the one where all right. Little nerdy moment. You've seen the second Aliens movie, right?
Yeah.
All right. The guy that actually was in this is dumb. Of all the cast members that are from the original Aliens and the second Aliens, the guy that was in the alien suit for the second movie is going to be there, and that's the whole reason I want to go is to get his freaking autograph. The dumbest, like, you could have any Joe Schmo off the freaking stream, be like, "Hey, this was the guy."
Yeah,
I don't care.
That's cool though. That's pretty.
It's stupid little stuff like that, man. That hooks me hook, line, and sinker. Like, I'm a big giant sci-fi nerd, that type of stuff, man. I saw that, as like, I'm going.
Nice.
So next week I will still try to. I think I did message John Daig about coming on. I might be able to get him on. We'll have to see, folks. But we'll see. Either way, it's going to be a good show. It'll be a good show. It'll be fun. If it is a solo night, I'll throw the link out. I'm sure I'll bribe John and Christine to come on. And, you know, Christine can yell at me. Maybe we'll get Nathan on. Nathan can yell at me some. You guys all love it. You all love it. But that's going to be it, guys. Riley, thank you very much. Charlie, Gray Rider, Reptiles, ShedTesting.com, guys. Carpet15, use the code. Check him out. Link is in the description down below. Also, Husbandry Pro, use code Warfels60. Get that 60-day free trial of Husbandry Pro. Show the sponsors some love. Go check them out. Every sponsor's information is in the description down below. No reason that you can't go check them out, guys. Go check them out. Use those codes. And that's going to be it, folks. Hope you all have an awesome, awesome week. Don't, as much as I'm not getting political, folks, go out and vote on Tuesday. Go vote. Make your voice heard. No matter, I don't care what side of the aisle you're on. Go vote. But yeah, that's it. That's my spiel, everybody. Have a great night. Have an awesome week. And we'll see you next weekend here, 8 p.m. Eastern. And have a good one, guys. Catch you next time. Later.